Hello and welcome to the Brown Media Podcast with me, Luke Larkin.
Me, Glenn Murphy.
And me, Brandon Curtin.
Question 1. In what ways does our media product use, develop or challenge forms and conventions of real media products? That includes movies such as Reservoir Dogs, Phone Booth, Seven, Signs of the Lambs, Identity, among others.
Luke, why don't you take us through Reservoir Dogs?
Well, Reservoir Dogs taught us that gangsters and mafia-type characters don't fit in a thriller, action sort of environment. They're more fit to a film noir than a thriller.
Yeah. I'll go through Phone Booth. Phone Booth, we got a good setting to make our movie, Hostage. We got the idea of a phone booth and the protagonist being pressured and a lot of the opening being set in a phone booth to give a claustrophobic feeling. The mise-en-scène was also a good part of why we chose that.
The phone booth was the main inspiration for our movie, and it's what we researched the most into. We also had Seven, which we took mystery and slight horror elements, combined that with danger to get the main genre down of our movie.
Yep. Identity, why don't you take us through that, Brandon? You know Identity.
Identity, basically we just took the mental health issues and the MPD.
What is MPD, Brandon?
MPD is multiple personality disorder, which is what the main character Peter Barnett / Sergio has.
That is our movie, Hostage.
Where he doesn't realise he's got multiple personalities and he does things without realising when he's in that personality.
We also tried to slightly delve into Silence of the Lambs.
Also with mental health issues.
For a bit of mental health issues, horror, creepiness, and the whole detective element with some creepy characters. Question 2. How does our media product represent different social groups? We try to cater our characters for different genres so more people could relate to each character and try to make each one as different as possible with their own backstories and how each character came about in the...
So what was the detective like?
Detective Barnett, which is played by me, Peter Barnett, is a mid-30s off-duty policeman, hence why you don't see him in any uniform. The casual clothes. He uses profanity throughout, which you hear when he says, "What the fuck are you doing?" "Fuck are you doing?" Which shows his maturity, because he can use foul language in a realistic setting to get his point across, rather than just joking and swearing and just using profanity everywhere.
So Sergio, he's the villain in our story. He has the typical slicked back villain hair, played by Brandon.
Try to go for a James Bond-esque villain with this character.
Typical bad guy. He only cares about revenge, getting his way. He's about late 30s. He sort of fits in with the genre of villain characters.
You've got Jessica, which is Peter's wife, who doesn't really love him anymore. They argue all the time. They're close to getting a divorce in an unhappy marriage. But she is also a policewoman, which you don't find out in the opening, but you would find out later in the movie. There would be other characters which will come into the movie, but haven't appeared in the opening clip yet. Question 3. What kind of media institution might distribute our media product and why?
We researched this. We researched all the distribution, the distributors, and the one with the most thrillers and movies closer to ours was Paramount, and they have had very successful thrillers with the themes that we have, like Shutter Island.
Yeah. We also chose Paramount because of they mostly produce movies with our thriller type, with a bit of action as well. This includes Terminator 2 and 3 and the rest of Terminators. They also did Transformers, which could make people look at our movie and think, well, Paramount did Transformers, maybe this is also a good movie.
Yeah.
Who would the audience be for our media product?
Due to the profanity and sort of
violence and hostage taken.
The It's got mature scenes.
It's got a minimum age.
Yeah, so we went with a minimum age of 15.
Yeah, 15 sounds about good because there isn't excess violence. You don't.
There isn't
really
like
see a lot.
full-on sexual.
No.
But you do
stuff.
understand that someone has been took hostage and there is swearing.
Yeah, there's very light swearing.
And there's
not light, but
and
there
there's
is not a
guns
lot
and
of
stuff
them.
in.
So yeah, 15 seems about the minimum age, and we picked about 40 for about the maximum age because I guess people over that age might not be into thrillers and shooting stuff like that. So married couples was also sort of
They can kind of resonate with the whole. Oh, they're arguing. Will they get back together?
like the
It's got love story
drama,
elements.
the romance sort of thing. And there's an interesting dynamic between Sergio and Peter with the kidnapping and the whole revenge backstory that could bring audiences in. That could be just any audience really. That interests a wide range of audiences. So the younger generation will be interested in the action, while the older, more mature people will be interested in the plot and the plot twist and stuff.
We feel like people under the age of 15 won't get what we're going for with the movie. Won't necessarily understand
It'd
it,
be too complicated
and it could be
because
a bit
of the mental
complex.
health issues like MPD.
Yeah, they might not understand why. At the end, Peter is actually took his wife hostage, and it's not Sergio. Sergio's not real,
Yeah.
or at least it isn't actually him. He just believes it's him.
What about gender? Do you think mostly males? And
Mostly
females?
males, I believe, would be interested in this.
Yeah.
Because you've got the stereotypical females like romance comedies, and males like the action, thriller, horror.
Yeah. Okay, so question 5.
Question 5. How did we attract or address our audience? Well, first of all, before we even planned out the movie, we did a survey on SurveyMonkey to find out what our friends or people
From
who
college.
might see it, what they would like to see, what they actually like, what they're into, and what thriller movies are their favourites.
Subgenre of thriller.
Yeah. We got
The biggest result.
the biggest result for the genre was 38.89% of people preferred crime thrillers over comedy thrillers or psychological or any other kind. So that's how the detective character came about to begin with. We thought because psychological thriller was the second highest voted for.
We sort of mixed it both.
Yeah,
in.
we added elements from both in, hence
crime and
the
psychological. slight
the
romance.
7 characters and the Shutter Island characters. And those two movies were chosen twice each as people's favourite thriller movies out of 13 answers.
So very, very popular thrillers. So that's just beautiful.
The pressure from Sergio to commit a crime would interest people, such as the part where he's forced to go into a building and kill someone,
Yeah.
which you start to see at the end. It'll attract a certain audience, such as 15-year-olds and higher, obviously, to like the male action thriller. And girls could also be attracted to, ooh, the bad guy, or, oh yes, he's the hero, like stereotypically. Which means we could bring more money in as the audience can relate to certain characters.
Because the younger audience is definitely the bigger cinema-going audience.
Yes.
Because Hunger Games, massively popular because it was, I think, a 12.
Yeah.
And that had a huge audience because of that, and that gained absolutely tons of money. So that's what we went for. We went for not too low, not a 12, so we could still have a thriller and not have it too U-rated.
About you saying about that, Glenn, there was no really successful thrillers with an age rating of 12.
Yeah.
Before
Well,
the Hunger Games.
Before the
Yeah.
Hunger Games.
Well, the Hunger Games isn't really a thriller, to be honest.
It's kind of a thriller, action, drama.
It's more of an action.
Yeah.
Before Hunger Games came out, the thriller action genre was slowly declining, with
Yeah,
more
Hunger
like
Games was
romance
huge.
movies and comedies taking the most money in the audience. But once Hunger Games came in, it outsold all of them and shone above everything else. But movies like that use a lot of CGI and high quality effects, like something you'd see in The Hobbit.
Hobbit, yeah.
But we decided to go against that for a more
Live
old school
live
approach,
action,
a live action.
Just people.
movie, which could bring more of the older audience into our movie because it's more realistic.
That's what they used to.
Yeah, they would see a burning building on fire in a different movie and think, oh, that's fake. But they'll see a hostage scene with a gun and think, yeah, nothing's been faked on this. It's all actually acted, and we just do everything without effects.
Yep.
We try to immerse the audience more in something that's realistic, rather than, say, the Hunger Games, which is just a bit outlandish and unrealistic.
Can I just say how bullshit is impeccable?
It is. Thank you.
Excellent.
Like, if I would give a bullshit rating out of 10, we're on a straight
Oh,
rocket
9.
up to the 10. Question.
You probably offer them watch this, Brendan.
So much for a guy who...
We've got 2 more questions, so we should play airball for like the little time we have. How little time do we have?
I love Whatsits. I love eating Whatsits, licking Whatsits, putting Whatsits in my ass. I smell Whatsits.
Question 6.
Didn't it start quarter 12?
Yeah, no, quarter 1. No,
Quarter 1?
quarter 12 or something.
Is it dinner?
But
No, but
ends
it's
at
half
quarter
11
to
now.
1.
Oh.
Should we just finish this? Are we going to go on airball or not?
No.
If we can get this done in the next 2 minutes.
I want to go and play a brawl.
You can
Right.
play Air Brawl while I get this onto the computer.
Alright, yeah. Questions? Come on, right. Question 6. What's the question?
Question 6. What have you learnt about technology from the process and the construction of the movie? We use lots of different technologies,
Cameras,
some on the
stands.
computer, some used ourselves.
Physical technology.
This includes a Panasonic HD handheld camera, which we used for almost all of the recording.
Yep, it helped us learn how to use the tripods to move it wherever we want to shot, to track.
We could
stuff
adjust
like
the
that.
tripod to get different camera angles and different techniques, such as a pan or a tilt,
Yeah.
to create a canted angle.
We also learned how to use editing software such as Final Cut Pro.
Which we use to edit the opening sequence.
Yeah.
And the whole of the movie. We also created our Brown Media logo, which you should see over this,
Yeah.
in Photoshop, using just a blank, typical landscape image, putting a triangle over it, flipping this triangle upside down
From the background.
from the background, and just writing Brown Media underneath in the text
The
titled WrestleMania.
WrestleMania fun, good fun.
The reason why we tipped upside down was because our company would be seen as
Edgy or different.
Yeah,
like we
because,
flip everything up on
like
its head.
it's a calm landscape and we flipped it upside down.
Yeah.
We've made it
Which
like
could-
unnatural.
We made it ours.
Which
Yeah.
could link to hostage, because you might think, oh, it's just a normal stereotypical thriller movie where there's a bad guy, oh, there's a hostage. But actually, the main character is also the bad guy, but you don't find out till the end. We're flipping
twist.
the stereotypicalness of a thriller up on itself.
So one of the best technologies we discovered during this was Final Cut Pro. It's really excellent software. We can edit films to the degree of what we want to make. The one that wasn't the best was iMovie, because it just didn't have the features. It didn't have
No, it
the
wasn't as
things
advanced, but
as Final Cut.
Despite
obviously.
Final Cut being a lot more advanced than iMovie, it
It's still
was
easy
easier to
It
use,
was simple, yeah.
and everything was just given to us.
Yeah, we tried to use GarageBand to create the music for our hostage, but it was quite complicated. You definitely needed a lot of music knowledge to create it, whereas we just used rightly free music and put a track over it.
And it would have took too much time,
Would have taken a whole
like
lot of time.
valuable time.
Yeah.
Considering we're not musical students, we would have had to learn how to play a certain instrument and program it in
Just for one small...
just for one short track, when there could be better played ones out there that we
Just
can
royalty
use
free.
royalty free. We learned to use these technologies by applying ourselves, just having a go, seeing what we can do,
Trying and failing.
and just
trying
trial and
again.
error. We also use skills from different lessons we have, such as I'm a photography student, so I knew how to use the camera, or Photoshop to manipulate images.
Brendan's a film student, so he knew a lot of camera shots and techniques.
And different ways of editing on Final Cut.
Yep.
So this helped us with filming, camera, and the logo, respectively.
Yeah.
Question 7. How did our preliminary task help us with creating what we have now?
Well, one thing we did very badly on the prelim task is we recorded in a mostly empty room and then it sort of filled up as we were recording, so...
We didn't plan anything out for the prelim.
Yeah, it ruined the continuity a lot, and the sound was awful because it was extremely loud and we didn't have microphones.
We didn't know what we were doing.
Yeah, we were very new. So, our cuts suddenly had a lot more people.
Yeah, there was no continuity.
The editing effects were quite poor. The black and white didn't suit our prelim. And the sort of silly effects sort of detracted from the value. Luke's understanding of editing takes, our editor Luke, is improved by trial and error, discovering techniques that work better in the themes and context of certain things, such as thriller, to not use sort of black and white filters and camera overlays and stuff like that. We've learned how to organise our time and create a recording schedule in order to create our movie, because obviously we had to make a group inbox on Facebook to message each other to make sure we were all available for the recording session, and
we all got together and worked on a script for it.
Yeah.
Unlike the prelim, we
had no script for that.
We went in depth in the script enough to put actions.
Buckle what's it?
Yes.
Good reference.
Just so I know to cut that.
Right, we're done.
Let's go play it!